Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. My name's Jade, and this is How to App on iOS. And today we're taking a look at Skulptur from Bram Bos and Hainbach. Let's get our filter banks on, baby. Let's go. Hello and welcome to the show. My name is Jade and this is How to App on iOS, and I hope you're doing okay. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Today we're taking a look at Skulptur by Bram Bos and Hainbach, and it's always very exciting when Hainbach does a collab with somebody, releases an app, and this is no exception. It's fantastic. I love it because I like minimal music, and what this thing does is it can take minimal music and make it maximal. Not even a word, but it is a word now, and it can give it movement, it can give it space, it can create textures just from very simple sounds, even just white noise. So very, very cool app indeed. Are you all doing well out there? It is, what day is it today? Damn, I don't even know. It's Wednesday here in Australia. Damn, so much to do. Tuesday for the rest of you. I hope your Tuesday's going good and all that jazz. Let's say hello to some folks, say hello to folks who are here in the chat, and then we'll get into this app and get it all happening and moving because I've got things to do. Rebel Rocker, thanks for sharing out the show. Studio 6+1, hello. Gary Hubbs, Thomas Christ, who's got a show coming up after this. It's his second episode, so get over and support the Thomas Christer, whatever that is. I don't know. Mr. Smith, hello, and thank you, Mr. Smith, for the gifted membership. Very kind of you. Feisty Feathers in the house, Justine Kasprick, the Queen, the Graveyard Zombies, hello. Kitsch Breeder was gifted a membership from Mr. Smith. Leela, hello. Leela, thanks for dumping everybody over from your show. Leela's back tomorrow at the same exact time before this show. And I think Mr. Smith played earlier today. I don't know. I think it's like 3 a.m. my time, so fast asleep, Mr. Smith. Wish I could be there, but hey. Only so many hours in the day to see everything. Need sleep. Cover by CQ. What's happening? Good to see you. Have I missed anyone? Joe, Glenn, Barry, Glenn in the house, rocking and rolling. Thomas, slinging links. You can do all these things if you want. These are things that help the channel, or you don't have to. You can do them. Patreon, today's app, we've got giveaways if you want to know. Thomas is banging the link in there for it. FPC, Brad Example. Where were you, dude? We were just waiting for you on Clubhouse. Where are you? What's going on? Boom. Thanks, Gary Hubbs. Lincoln to Thomas's show. Boom, there it is, coming straight up. All right, let's get into this. This app's really cool. I really like it a lot. It's as soon as I saw it drop, I was very, very excited and couldn't contain myself. Had to go and find the wanking glove. But that's another story that you don't need to know about, do you? At all. So, essentially, Skulptur. So, it's spelled a little interesting. Let me just bring up the deets for you. Skulptur is available for $12.99. It is a collaboration between Bram Bos and Hainbach. Hainbach is an incredibly talented avant-garde musician who just, whatever he touches is gold. Very, very clever musician. Bram Bos has been around on making iOS apps forever and a day. They are one of the premier developers, I would suggest. Everything they make is pretty damn solid. You can see down here this list of things like Solderbox and Salome, Hilda, Fluss, Hammerhead, Gauss. I mean, they've got a lot of really good apps here. So there is that. And this one is no different, $12.99. iOS, iPad, and M1 Macs only. This is not a PC thing. But if you've got an M1 Mac and you buy this on the App Store, you can use it across all Apple devices, essentially. Yeah. Hello, Falcro. Good to see you, Falcro. The Falc. Whatever. So there you go. There's the price of the app. And let's have a little bit of a demo, shall we? Why not? Let's do it. So I got a little project here. What do we got running here? We got mass. We've got piano motifs. We've got nerd synth. We've got noise space from Igor Vasiliev, VCR synth, which we took a look at yesterday, and this old favorite here, retro piano. And all of them have a copy of Sculpt and some reverb on them. So let's kick this thing off by introducing some noise. All right, pretty cool stuff. Let's get into how it works. Listen to those waves of filters. Okay, let's clear this out. So there was that project. Let's start with a blank palette here so you can see exactly how this thing works. Now, I'm going to create 2 audio tracks, and firstly I want to start off with an app called Fluss, because this borrows some concepts from this app. So this is also by Bram Bos and by our dear friend Hainbach. And when I covered this, the way this thing works is, let's just choose a preset for you. And we'll do like an instrument up here. Let's just choose one of these. So why I'm showing you this is, one of the really amazing things about Fluss was the way you could use your hands and interact with the iPad to create movement. And all of these things here, so we've got a filter in here, and we've got some levels here and some pitch stuff over here. So with my fingers, very easily, I can take anything over here and just flick it, and it'll start moving. And I can decide how much friction that it has. See how they're stopping after a while? So I can turn down the friction, and then when I flick one of these, it's just going to keep going because there's no friction any longer. It's turned way down. If I turn up this friction, it's going to stop eventually, right? And the same thing comes with these sections here. So these grain levels, I can flick with a finger, and these will animate as well. So things can get pretty chaotic. with Fluss. All right, let's stop that. So I just wanted to give you a brief introduction to Fluss because this is pretty much got, it's based off that whole flicking sensation and moving those dials around. So it is an effect, so you'll need to open it up in an effect slot. So if you've got a guitar, you're playing a guitar, you add it to the effect slot, keyboard, whatever, but it can make its own tones as well, somewhat. So let's start off by doing that. So firstly, in the effects slot, of course, there's nothing being pushed into the input, so we've got no sound. But the first dial that I'm going to play around with this is the noise dial over here. If I turn this up, we've got some noise. And this is a nice little function in here. I mean, you can just use this as a noise generator as well without actually driving anything through it. But what is a filter bank, I hear you ask? So a filter bank, as the name implies, is an array of filters all running in parallel. So you'll know just from an EQ, yeah? So your EQ has different frequencies across the spectrum, but these are, so the key difference with a typical voltage controlled filter is that a filter bank, the cutoff frequency for each is fixed, right? So let's just start off by taking this sound. Let's turn up this noise. And I'm going to pull all these levels down. Oops, we'll turn up that friction there. And you'll notice when I turn all these down to 0, there's no sound because we've turned down all of the frequencies, right? So basically it works like a cutoff filter. Bring it up. And you're going to start to hear different spectrums of the noise that we have playing here. Now, you can very easily with the buttons down the bottom here. So also there are 3 sections in here: faders, elastic, cycles, and faders. They're the 3 sections. You can bring these down at any time just by hitting minimum. So the buttons down the bottom, maximum brings them all up, minimum brings them all down, random just sets a random pattern for you, and bump should give you a little bit of animation. And depending on how high you have your friction turned up, these will continue to go. See, if I turn this friction up to here and then hit bump, we get a little movement and then it stops. If I turn the friction all the way down and hit bump, this is just going to keep going on forever and ever. And with my fingers, I can change these at any time just by grabbing one, pulling it down where I'd like it to go, or just by flicking. Let's grab another one and flick that one. So it all depends on how fast or how soft you flick. So you can see this 125, much slower than everything else. We can grab this one and make this one a bit slower. And all from this noise, we have texture, we have movement. It just sounds rad. So remember, we've got nothing going through this yet, just the noise. The other cool thing is over here, just above my head up there, we've got 4 different filter bank types. So the first one is analog that you're listening to now. The next one is a resonant, which is replicates a complementary frequency bands often found in natural sounds. So let's click that. So it's got more of a fizzy, resonancy sound, like what you'd hear with a filter turning up the resonance. A bit more fizz in there. If I click this again, this one's called 1949. It's a selection of bands inspired by 20th century filter equipment. And you can see up here, these numbers change, right? Because we're creating different filter banks. And the last one is called vowels. It's a more closely spaced model with the numbers up here for some intimate character. That's this one here. So you can hear how this one's a bit more dense, not as fizzy. And this is the vowels. So you've got 4 of these. Hey, Pete Johns, and hello to The Falcon Blueser. What's going on? And Hugh Caldwell. Hello, Hugh. Pretty wicked stuff. Now this is, I love this. This is probably one of my favorite features on here. Let's just turn this down a bit. So you'll notice here we've got a level input. Now, like with any app, this determines the level of what you're inputting, yeah? And you see when I'm turning this up, it's not changing anything because I don't actually have anything coming into the app at the moment. It's just using the noise from here. And hello, Heather, as well. So we're just getting noise from here. Let's ditch the noise and turn it down. And let's try adding something in here. So let's try using something like, we want to keep it as static as possible at this point. So I'm going to choose no input mixer. So no input mixer, Igor Vasiliev app, it basically takes the concept of taking a mixer and taking the output and feeding it back into the mixer so it feeds back on itself to create noise. So that's what this app is that I'm trying to generate stuff with. So you know, hey Gortium, good to see you. So I'm going to choose a drone from here, just a random drone. Turn this up. And here's our drone sound. So not a lot of movement, but a lot of stuff going on, yeah? So you can hear some feedback in there. I'm just going to come over here and set our preset back to init. And here we are. All the faders are up. Let's hit a random. Let's turn down the friction. Give it a bump. And you can hear, automatically, this now has movement. It has some kind of texturized feel of movement going on to make it more interesting. Now this is where it gets fun. Up here, our level input, you can see up the top, it's got a little sat next to it and a little dot. As soon as you go past this level, that light will come on. And we are now getting a whole bunch of saturation. So there's a saturation algorithm built in here, and that is just wow. So the other thing to do, remembering that these are filters, whenever it gets down to the bottom, it's going to 0, right? So it's going all the way up to the loudest peak and then reverting back to 0. And you might not want that. You might want to keep some kind of tone going at the same time. So let's just stop all these. I'm going to hit minimum. So we've got no sound now. And what you can also do is, so we can lift the level here. But what you can also do is up the top and the bottom, you can drag these down as well too. So we can bring the bottom up as well. Let's do this with all of these. We'll bring the bottom up so we're actually not getting anything that's going down to 0. So, whoops. So I think you have to have some kind of sound before you can drag up. So I'm just dragging from the bottom. And maybe we'll let this one go all the way down to the bottom. Bring this one up. And you can do the same thing from the top too. So you've only got a few of them going all the way up to the top. And now when we start moving these, let's hit bump. You're going to get a more interesting kind of sound because we're not losing volume completely, yeah? So the next dial to, oh, you can add noise into this as well too. So let's add some noise. So you want to add some extra fizz in there, a bit of grit. You can do that with the noise dial. We also have this feedback dial over here. Now let's talk about this. So the feedback influences the shape of the filter roll-off. At its lower settings, the filters behave as just flat filters. But when it's turned up at its higher settings, it introduces a ripple to the cutoff points and bands. So the roll-off becomes steeper and the sound becomes more resonant. Let's turn that up and you'll hear. Much more resonance in there. We've still got this distortion up here too. Let's change the filters. Wow, what the hell happened then? Did you hear that? With the resonator on. This is the resonant band. Jesus. Seven Dust, hello. Whoa, how cool is that? And we'll try the last one, which is the vowel. All right. Let's talk about some other features in here. So we do have presets, bunch of presets. So you've got factory, and whatever you save for yourself, it will be put into your user presets. You have a quick save up here. So if I click this, it's going to ask me to create a name. I'll just call it demo, hit OK, come to your presets, and you'll find that in your user preset bank. You can delete presets, create new banks, import, share presets, export all your presets, easy peasy. And you've got a whole bunch of presets in here as well. Some are stagnant, some move around, like this one. I gotta say, I love this one. If you're making horror movie stuff and you want a jump off point, this is the one you want, in utero. What a great underneath texture to have for some kind of, if you're shooting a movie, the horror spaceship, an alien movie, you think of the how tense it would be. What a perfect grumbling tone to have under there. And it's moving as well too. It's so, it just reminds me of an alien film, the Nostradamus, you know, that's that constant hum that is running through the background. Perfect. I love that one so wild. Only lows. So you can see there's a bunch of presets in here to play around with. Let's bring that all back down to nothing. And let's try putting this on a piano or even Fluss. Let's load up a preset from Fluss. And we'll start Fluss moving. So we've got some movement going on with this. And let's move our octave a little bit. And let's throw Skulptur onto here, because there are more ways to do this as well. So we've looked at the faders option. There's also this option here. This is called the elastic section. So it's a little bit different in that you can kind of play this on your iPad. So not only is this really clever app, really smart stuff, but maintaining that whole iOS, iPad interaction kind of thing as well with cycles here. So I can take any of these points and drag up with my finger and across, or below. Or by tapping. And you can decide the rise and the fall of these as well too. So we've got a base level here. If I turn this down, we will lose all sound, because remember, these are filters. So when the filter's cut off, there's no sound. But if we bring this base level up, we'll get something to jump off from a platform to jump off. And then from here, we can rise points as we like. You can also decide the speed of the rise and fall. So let's just turn both these down, these little tabs down the bottom, and you can see the rise and fall is so much faster. Let go. Let's bring this bass down. As soon as I let go, it drops back down. The higher these are, the slower the rise and fall will be. Let's make the fall as slow as possible. Make the rise a little bit faster. And then you get these tails that drag off in the background. Let's give this a bit of heat. Just so you can see what I'm doing with my hands here. But there's also another way to do this, and down the bottom here, we've got our little draw section. When you select draw, you can just draw curves in, yeah? So I'm just doing it with my finger. Turn off the draw, and everything will fall back into place. Nice and slowly. Hey, Forest of the Wolf. The last section is called cycles. Think of this as a gigantic LFO. So you can see this moving like a sine wave, slowly up and down like a snake. And what's interesting with these three sections, cycles, elastic, and faders, pay attention to where these are. If I move to faders now, we have an exact representation of where those dots were in cycles. So pay attention. Once this gets up to the top here, I'm going to switch to faders. And there we have a complete fade down following that tail. Come back over to cycles, and there it is. So it mimics whatever the cycle is at. If I move this to elastic now, it's going to fall back into place, but it has this where this cycle was. Now you can change the base level of this cycle, so it's up higher, so you're not going to lose volume. You can change the pace. And you can change the slope. Now you'll see this at a much slower pace. Let's bring this back. So when the slope is set to 0, this is just flat and just moving up and down. But as we introduce slope, watch what happens. Starts to tilt. Starts to tilt. And we can change the speed of this as well. Plus, like a good LFO, we can sync this to the DAW. So if I click sync here, it's now sunk to 120 BPM. And we can slow it down. Change the slope out. I'm going to give it some heat up the top here. Now if the last button I haven't talked about, you've got your output, which is going to, blow your ears out if you're not careful, all that stuff. If I hit filter bypass now, what the filter bypass does, let me just pull down the volume a bit. Filter bypass bypasses all of this, bypasses this stuff in the middle. What it keeps is this stuff over here. So if you've got saturation on here and turn on the filter bypass, you've still got that saturation, right? And the noise. So this only affects whatever's going on in the middle here. I'm not going to lie. I fucking love this. It's so good. Let's find another preset in here. Let's add an effect. We need some reverb on here. Just give it. We've got Splosh Box, which we're looking at tomorrow. This is a really tasty little reverb. We are at our halfway point of the show. I need to run an ad, don't I? Every day on the channel we run an ad, so it's fair. Everyone gets it at the same time. Even if you do or don't, doesn't matter. And the way you can avoid the ad is by becoming a YouTube Premium subscriber or by skipping the ad, and we'll wait for you to come back. Let's click the little button. You may or may not get an ad. I don't know. It's up to the YouTube gods. And while we are waiting for those who may or may not get an ad, let's tell you what's coming up. Tomorrow we're taking a look at these little babies, 4 apps in one show. Rob Jackson's at it again, and he's created bit clip, quad delay, pan duale, and splashbox. So we'll take a look at all of these tomorrow in one show. They're all like $2 each. They're ridiculously cheap. So we'll do that tomorrow. Also, something special happening this week for the interview. We're going to do this. So I've started fossicking through the archive of stuff I have related to Russ's mum, Dot, who passed away recently and was buried yesterday. So I've been going through all the footage I have, and we're going to do a little remembering Dot this Thursday with some of her highlights from the roasts and the interview I did with her. And I've tried to put together something really nice for that. So if you want to come and join us for that, please do. And Walk With Me is being filmed not today, tomorrow, or Bike With Me. The first episode of Bike With Me is happening. Plus, this weekend is the second edition of the 1 Hour Song Challenge. And if you're interested, the list is up. The list is up. So if you want to go and torture me and, I don't know, try and make me make music that I don't like, then that's up to you. You got to sleep with yourself, right? But this week, the options are glam rock, folk, horror movie score, or jazz. And so far, glam rock has 50%. So you can head over to the post section of my channel, go and vote. You've got a few days to vote until the weekend, and tell me what song you want to see me make in an hour. Glam rock, folk, horror movies, or jazz, baby. That's up to you guys. All right. I fucking love this app. Oh, I love this app so much. Let's throw it. Let's take it off there. Let's throw it on a piano or something, because, you know, this stuff works really good on things like a piano. Really old-timey, create like an old-timey kind of piano. I'm going to do a piano motifs over here. And we'll put in, I don't know, let's put in piano tech, and we'll try and retro it up by putting like a lo-fi, something like this. We'll shoot this out here. And I don't know, we'll pick a F major. Send this out to our piano. Let's slow this down. I like that. So I've got like a nice lo-fi reverby piano going on. Let's throw Skulptur. I'm just swiping up from the bottom as well, just to make sure that we don't lose all of our sound. Let's turn our friction down. Get a little bit of movement going on here. I do like the analog one the most. So I'm just going to reintroduce the original patch we had. Listen to that low rumble. Fuck me. How good is that? So I've just changed the scale of Fluss to the same scale as what the piano is. fucking beautiful. Let's add Skulptur to our drums. Wow. So while we're on these drums, let me tell you another thing you can do here in the cycles tab. So you'll notice here, while we're in cycles, you'll see this part is light and this part is dark. You can actually come in and mute these tracks. So anything that's dark has been muted in here. Let's take out all the low end and some randoms. And you'll notice when I jump over back to faders again, to the actual faders, all the ones that I have hit mute on here, so pay attention to these two, they are now turned all the way down. So as I said, whatever you do in cycles reflects in one of the other sections. So you can see these are all turned down as well here. Hey, pausing guitars. And yoink. Let's go with one more thing. I'm just going to load up another a sound thing in here. Just give me a sec. I'm going to load up noise space. Again, something that you can create sounds with very easily that already have movement. And now we can add more. All right, I'm going to leave that playing in the background. So that is Skulptur by Hainbach and Bram Bos. Very unique, very interesting as always from when Hainbach's involved, because he just makes great, strange stuff. As I said in the beginning of the show, you are looking at a price of $12.99 to download this app. I don't think it's a sale price to kick off or anything like that, so that is the price. If you're a Patreon, we have some giveaways. $5 or above to join the Patreon, have a chance to win apps each week on the Patreon. We do a live stream every week on the Patreon and do the live giveaways there and master your songs. Awesome stuff. Thomas Christ is up next, and he is showing you the secrets behind Thomas Christ and how he makes his music, and that is fucking cool. Why, thank you, Falcro. You want to get it on? And thanks, Thomas, for posting a link. Enjoy your walk, Leela. All right, folks, I am going to get out of here today, and I've got some work to do. I've got to get this wonderful video I'm putting together for Dot this week. So if you missed it, we're doing a little special remembering Dot Mayhew this week for instead of the interview. So hopefully you can come and remember Dot with us. She was buried yesterday, and hopefully we'll have some of the footage from the funeral as well, because I was there. I'm just waiting to get the footage, and then I'll add all that in too, so you can be there and see what went down. All right, folks, I'm out of here. Love you lots. Do the things that make you happy. Mistakes make you better. We'll all rise together, stay awake, and let's do the OG Poji Roji Moji, whatever the fuck that is. Let's do it. See you tomorrow. And at Thomas's. I better stop this, better I? So we've got some fade music. All right, you ready? Let's out.